What happens in the Democratic nomination now that Biden has left the race? President Joe Biden has decided not to run for re-election, following his disastrous debate performance last month and his failure since to convince his fellow Democrats that he can defeat former President Donald Trump in the fall. Democrats now have an unprecedented challenge, given the traditional primary season has long since ended. Biden on Sunday endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris to be the Democrats' nominee this fall, but he can't automatically make her the candidate. As we first wrote back in February, individual delegates will now select the party's nominee on the convention floor, or, potentially, during a virtual roll call. These delegates aren't just pledged to vote for Biden, they're also approved by his campaign. So it will largely be Biden backers who will be picking his replacement. Here's what likely happens now that Biden has ended his candidacy. According to Democrats' current rules, President Joe Biden announced on July 21st that he was dropping out of the presidential election. Democratic Party rules suggest the following steps to formally nominate the next candidate, either during a virtual roll call, which the party was tentatively planning for early August, or at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago from August 19th to 22. Potential nominees would need to gain signatures from hundreds of delegates and be recognized as candidates. Then, 3,949 individual delegates, nearly all former Biden delegates, and roughly 750 superdelegates would be called upon to select the nominee. Candidates would campaign among the delegates for their votes. Superdelegates may or may not take part in the first round of voting. If no candidate gets a majority, voting continues in rounds. When all delegates are involved, a majority of the nearly 4,700 total delegate votes wins the nomination. Who could replace Biden? The president, in a post on X, endorsed Harris. But there would be other potential candidates who previously argued they could run a more effective campaign against Trump. Would someone like California Governor Gavin Newsom, who offered unqualified support for Biden in the wake of Thursday's debate, challenge Harris at the convention? Settling on a replacement could be divisive and ugly. It would be up to the delegates to decide, in a series of votes, after frantic lobbying, who to pick. On the Democratic side, there is also another group to consider, the superdelegates, a group of about 700 senior party leaders and elected officials who are automatically delegates to the convention based on their position. Under normal party rules, they can't vote on the first ballot if they could swing the nomination, but they're free to vote on subsequent ballots. However, it isn't exactly clear how those rules would be applied in this case. The number of superdelegates can also shift if one dies or resigns. Rep. Sheila Jackson Lee, the longtime Texas Congresswoman, died July 19th, reducing the number of superdelegates by one.